Guys, take fucking two because I didn't have my mic plugged in, but this is a video I've wanted to do for a while, and that is reasons why the UK is my #1 dream country. I'm just gonna pause this. But back to what I was saying, a lot of us have British ancestry and have British family members, and a joke to Idris, you have a nephew in the US. I'm kidding. I always had to fuck with him and make that joke. But yeah, that's the first reason. And a #2 reason is we have a lot of similarities. Now, I'm not going to say like, oh my gosh, we're the exact same people. We're the exact same. We speak the same language. We have the same accent. No, we have differences. We do. But at the same time, the difference is like, you guys can drink earlier than we can. Not many of us are that bothered by it, but that's one of them. And college, education, that sort of thing. I'm not even going to get to politics, because both of our countries suck dick whenever it comes to politics. But back to what I was saying. That's another reason, is, you know, the history, reading about everything, and how you guys were owned almost half of the world, pretty much. I'm kidding. But the next reason is, in pop culture. Many of us are familiar with pop culture in the UK, like whether it be past, present, now, and all that. We are familiar with pop culture, whether it be bands like Tears for Fears, Thompson Twins, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, movies like 28 Days Later, and Hot Fuzz, which for the record, I know someone's going to say, but isn't 28 Days Later Irish? No, I count it as British because it was filmed in London and it was filmed all across England. But so I count it as British. I know it's directed by Danny Boyle, but I count it as British because of that. But yeah, we're all familiar with that, and there are many people, I haven't personally watched it, but that are a fan of Doctor Who. I haven't personally watched it, so I can't give an opinion. But yeah, that's another reason. Now, before I get to the next reason, I might as well tell everyone what started my fascination. It was way back when I was a kid. My mother told me a story of when she went to a small town in England, and she's been to Scotland as well. I forgot to mention this. Ooh, can I get all these birds? I love doing that. I love Charles. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, how it started was my mother has been to both England and Scotland. In England, it was in a small town named Colchester. For everyone who lives in England or a buddy of mine in England, comment down below if you've heard of the city of Colchester, and you can tell me what you've heard. But she stayed in that town in Scotland. Shout out to Kelsick. She went to the Edinburgh and visited around the capital and talked a lot of good things. Whether it be some of the people her uncle knew, or the rain, the weather. It was a lot of good stuff. So then I got curious. I eventually did more research because I thought, wow, this is really fascinating to me, because, and then finding out I have British ancestry. Now, I'm not one of those people, oh my gosh, I have British ancestry, so I'm British. No, I'm American, but I just happened to realize what my background is from. But anyways, back to what I was saying is, yeah, history, colonies, and all that, and music too, like I mentioned. And another reason is reading about some of the sites and some of the places. Like one beach that reminds me of one, as you guys know, I live in Texas, and we're pretty big in our size and everything. And one of the beaches we have here, because we're off the Gulf of Mexico, called Galveston Island. For those who don't know what it is, look it up. It is a beautiful beach. I haven't been there since 2013, but it is absolutely gorgeous. The famous beach in England called Brighton Beach has a pier that's very similar to it. I haven't been to that pier, but I've seen pictures. It's a very beautiful place. And I'm fascinated by the water. And obviously, I'm not one of those people. Let me go to the tourists. I would want to see what it's like, how locals live, because one of the things I also watch is the BBC documentaries that gives you an idea what local life is like. There was one I watched about a legal district for prostitution. I'll leave them down in the comments if anyone's interested. But yeah, what local life is like. That's one of the things I like. And also seeing the beautiful nature. Like, we here in the US, we have beautiful nature, but in England, it's like England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales, the whole of Great Britain. I apologize if I also get something wrong, but it's beautiful to me. Like, it's absolutely breathtaking. Like, you could just walk around, and if it were me, I would just stare and just take it in, and the breathtaking view. Now, another reason why I'm curious is some of the friends I've gotten to know. Now, I know people in almost every country in the UK except for Wales. The only country I don't know anyone from is Wales, but other than that, I know people from every single country almost. And I'm gonna give a shout out to those people. 2 of them are subscribers, and one of them's a good friend of mine, Arthur. His name's Dealey, and I was just having a chat with him. Fucking notifications. Yes, Arthur Morgan, formerly 4th chairman. He's from England, and Idris, iKid TV, aka him, he's from London. And he's been a great buddy of mine, one of my best guy friends I've ever had, and one of the best people I know. Great guy, Idris. We talk a lot about pop culture, how shitty politics are. He's a really great guy. And another one I know are 2 girls. One, her name's Charlie, and she lives in the town of the city of Birmingham. I love her very much as a friend. Her and I are extremely close, and we send letters for fun back and forth. And her boyfriend's father actually lives in my city, San Antonio, Texas. And she told me a lot about what it's like in Birmingham and some of the things she aspires to be and all that. And the next one is, her name's Alicia. She lives in a smaller town. I'm probably going to get the name wrong, so correct me. I apologize if I get their name wrong. It's called Scunbar. I probably just butchered that name, so I apologize, but she's chill, she's very nice. Once again, gives me an idea how locals live. And next up is Kells from Scotland, who has become one of my best friends. She's an absolute sweetheart and is one of the best people I know. We talk a lot, sometimes only for a little bit, sometimes not every day, but we both get along and really respect each other. And is someone I'm also going to send a letter to. And she lives in a town called Denny, which is between Edinburgh and Glasgow. And she's told me again what it's like living in Scotland. And the last one, who lives in Northern Ireland, her name's Emma, who is the same age as me. We talk a lot about things. I've told her a lot about the US, and she's told me a lot about Northern Ireland. She's very chill. She's somebody I'm very close with. We talk about basically the same thing. So yeah. That's now, before anyone asks, well, how'd you get to know people from the UK? It really isn't just like, oh, I wanted to get to know people from the UK and this certain country. It was all based on luck, you know? It just wasn't a thing that I wanted. It wasn't a thing that just happened. It was all based on luck. And I'm also one of those people who make sure I always don't go, oh my gosh, this person's from another country. They're like the most unique person. No, there's still people like me, just happen to be in a different country, maybe a slightly different lifestyle, but still a person. And that's one of the other things that made me curious, is just really seeing the local life and atmosphere, because one of the things that makes me so curious about visiting Europe is I love colonial architecture. You do kind of see it here in San Antonio, but only in downtown you really see it. You do not really see it in the small towns, however, because in the small towns here you really see a lot of trees, you see a lot of grass. That's mostly what you see here. It's not like the Midwest where you see a shitload of corn, but over here you just see a lot of trees, grass, sometimes lakes. And when you move more to the south, closer to Mexico, you see more desert. And I'm like 4 to 5 hours from Mexico. But yes, that's another reason, is basically because of some of the people I met and some of the things they've told me. Now, I always want to say, no country is perfect. There's a lot where people, I apologize, I cannot talk at this hour. It's currently 10:54 p.m. as I'm recording this, but yeah, no country's perfect. Everyone makes their mistakes, but I think the UK, it has a soft place in my heart. Now, always take what I say with a grain of salt, because I've never personally visited. It would be a long time for me to visit, because I'll look it up while this cutscene's playing. I'm just looking up the exact cost per flights. Damn it.
Come on, now get out of here. This place ain't safe. Get out of here!
Ja, ja, alles klar. Ich hab was für Sie. Einen Moment. Dankeschön. Thank you.
Crap. Give me a second, guys. I know I'm kind of like silent, but I'm trying to get an exact price.
Yes, it was a pleasure.
You
This place, oh, it'll be perfect for us. Hello, Arthur.
All right, here it is. Now, here are the exact prices, and this will be why it takes a long time until I visit. If I want to fly to London from San Antonio, I would have to pay $1,393. If I wanted to fly to Edinburgh from San Antonio, $1,494. To Manchester, $1,381. I didn't mean it. Okay. To Belfast, $2,875. To Aberdeen, $1,499. To Birmingham, $1,380. To Cambridge, $1,497. Or, sorry, that's for Bristol. For Cambridge, $4,716. To Glasgow, $1,637. Alright, we'll be here all night if I record this, but you guys get the price. You guys get the big deal. It costs a lot, but the reason I'm curious is like that sort of thing. It makes stuff like that, it makes me curious. It's just learning how people live, learning what people think, and knowing, you know what, just because somebody's in a different country doesn't mean they're that different. It just shows they're people like me, just happen to be in. But back to what I was saying, yeah, it shows you that people are just people no matter what. But yes, damn it, I was trying to start the next to donate some money. But yes, sites make me curious, history. I mean, we all know the history. Most of us know the history of Ireland and Northern Ireland. So I won't get into that. Know what it's like in Scotland, sites, that sort of thing. And I have a fun fact for all my people here. If you're from the UK or if you're from the US, did you know the typical Southern American accent, the kind that's typically associated with hillbillies? A fun fact. That was what the British, Irish, and Scottish accent actually evolved into, is the Southern American accent. I will link a video in the description that talks about it, but what the Southern American accent is, it's basically British accent 2.0, or Irish accent 2.0, Scottish accent 2.0. And it's really cool because it shows you that traces of the UK and Europe are still within the US, because we Americans, we had the stereotype of we don't care about reading other cultures. We don't care about learning about stuff that's outside our own country, which is completely untrue. We love reading about it. We're very curious individuals because we know where we came from. We know what happened. But yes, that's one of the things that's still cool to me, is that's like the closest thing you get to the UK is the Southern American accent, is that, because, and to Ireland too, which is really cool. It's one of the coolest things in my opinion, reading that. And another thing you get that's closest is bureaucracy laws. I can't fucking talk. That's another thing that's passed down. I won't get much into that, but and now I'll talk about some of the things I've personally tried that are British and from the UK. One drink I have tried, and tell me down below if you're from the UK, tell me what you think of it. I have tried the soda Iron Brew. Tell everyone the story is I found it completely by accident. Basically, we have a store here in Texas. It's called Central Market, and it's basically a store that was a UK festival. It's pretty funny. I still remember that day and coming in by accident, running into that. And for a limited time, they actually had Iron Brew there. So I was like, oh wow, they actually have it. I want to give this a try. And I remember sending Kels my reaction to me trying it. It was one of the most interesting drinks I have ever tried. It kind of reminded me of Fanta, just not as strong, not as like tainted-y. It was more smooth, and I liked it. Now, because I'm a diabetic, I can't have that much of it, or else my blood sugar can go high, and that's not a good thing. But that's the only regular drink I've made exceptions for, because another store I found it at that's also big in Texas, H-E-B, there's one literally not far from my house, and I can literally buy it if I want to for $2, which is really cool. But yes, I love Iron Brew. It's a really good drink. But yes, I'm saying a lot for this video. I'm probably going to be rambling, but this is a topic I'm passionate about, talking about why the UK, Britain is my dream country, because it has been for years. It really fascinates me, everything about it. And another example you really see the influence in is, well, this is going to be obvious, but in Boston. I haven't been to Boston personally, but I've read a lot about it. That name is obvious where that comes from. I don't think I need to explain it. New York, I once again don't think I need to explain it. And the whole of New England, you really see the influence, whether it be the architecture. It's really the whole of New England and the South. You really see the influence from the UK, from Great Britain. Whether it be in the Southern American accent, whether it be the architecture, whether it be like some of the town names. It's really cool watch some of the things you see. And what else is there worth mentioning? I do have dreamed of the day I visit, because there are many things I want to check out. I don't want to be one of those people, oh, I've seen the big cities and I've seen the UK. No. The way I think you can really see a country is if you get like a local experience, check out other towns. Now, still go to big cities, don't get me wrong, but just don't just guess, oh, it's the same thing, or oh, that's the whole country. And same thing for stereotypes. British stereotypes kind of make me cringe, because Another thing I want to add to make a joke. Southerners tend to get the stereotype of being, we tend to get the stereotype of being idiots because of some of us talk. Now, I don't personally have the accent. Mine's very general, as you guys can hear. But some of them, the ones who do have the typical Southern American accent, which, like I said, came from Ireland, England, and Scottish accents, get the stereotype, oh, they're dumb, they're stupid, which, on the flip side, the British, the Scottish, the Irish get the stereotype of saying, oh, they're very smart and very intelligent, while on the flip side, Southerners are dumb. And it's pretty funny. Oh, fuck. Like Arthur Morgan's accent here, you really see the example because it's hinted that he has Welsh ancestry, and you kind of can tell by his accent that would have evolved from it. Like, for example, one thing you can do if you want to tell the difference is listen very carefully, and you'll notice that in the accent how it sounds similar. It's hard to tell at first. It really is. I'm probably gonna fail the fucking mission. Come on. In Arthur Morgan's accent, you really hear it. You find it out in other ways. And another thing to mention, back to the pants thing, is also Simple Minds. That's a Scottish band. I didn't know that for a while, but that is a Scottish band. The singer's from Scotland, most of the members are. And I love Simple Minds. They mostly, the song that I think it overshadows all the rest of the music is Don't You Forget About Me. That song really, it's a great song, don't get me wrong, but in my opinion, it kind of overshadows stuff like, oh, the thing she said, promise you a miracle, and many more songs. I love the band Simple Minds. And just, they really get like a good taste into the culture and to life in general. Another one that I think does it is Sex Pistols. Most people probably know the story of Sid Vicious. Oh. I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, most of the people, everyone knows the story of Sid Vicious and knows of the song Anarchy in the UK, which I think I'll know Sid Vicious' song Anarchy in the UK and know of his backstory. And I've read about some of the bad, like whether it be stabbings or acid attacks and drug addicts. But you know what? That comes with every country. Every country has its problems, and every country has its good sides. Excuse me. But ultimately, though, the things that make me curious about the UK, and everyone tell me what you think down in the comments, is stuff like learning about history, seeing some of the pubs. There is one that I have been to in San Antonio. It's probably not that authentic, where it's on the Riverwalk. For those who don't know, San Antonio, one of our famous attractions is the Riverwalk and the restaurant down there, and there was a British pub there. And I remember when I went, the guy actually, it was a pretty general accent, but he actually imitated an accent, and it was one of the coolest things ever, and he actually sounded pretty convincing, I have to admit. But I've always wanted to know like what it's like at a real authentic one. My best friend Charlie, she's told me a lot about what it's like. It seems really neat, to be honest. And another film that I watched, it's an animated film. It does a good parody of British culture, in my opinion, Flushed Away. I love that movie. It's one of the most underrated, underappreciated animated films from Aardman Animation. That's like one of the best like parodies of British culture ever. And some of the other things, but this is a rambling video, so don't be surprised if I'm inconsistent. My mother told me about, back to that, is she also did watch The Changing of the Guard in Buckingham Palace, told me what that was like. And yeah, there's lots I can say I'm curious about. I love, as I said, British music. I love 80s music. And another bad to mention, I want to get this right just to make sure, so give me a second. Ah, damn it.
There you go. You are a natural.
Yes, Iron Maiden. That's another one that's a British heavy metal band. That's a band I definitely enjoy, but would love to buy some of their records one day.
There is the brains of the operation.
And of course, Alfred Hitchcock. He seemed like an absolute disgrace of a human being if you read about him. But I can't deny the fact he was a great filmmaker. And of course, another famous film, British film I love, A Clockwork Orange. That one's a classic. So yeah, whether it be pop culture, whether it be the people, whether it be some of the friends I've made, I one day dream of visiting the UK. And it would be like a literal dream come true if I met any one of my friends from the UK, whether it be from Northern Ireland, Scotland, England. I forgot to mention Brickell's. I'm sending her a letter very soon. As I'm recording it, I have not written the letter just yet, but I will be very soon. I'm currently poor on money at the moment. That's a long story I won't get into. And Emma from Northern Ireland, she's an absolute sweetheart and one of my best internet friends, and also all the people I've interacted. So those are some of the things that make me curious about the UK. I'll tell another thing that always shocked me as a kid was reading the fact that, wow, how do British people drive on the left? Like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. I always got so confused by that as a kid. And another thing I thought as a kid, actually I won't mention this, but yeah, that's one of the things I always found interesting as a kid. How the fuck do they drive on the left? Like, I mean, it's kind of is interesting to me today, but whatever. Ultimately, I think the UK is a great country with great people, with great culture, with the main part I love is some of the people I've talked to from there. It's only on the internet, but I'm still glad I've talked to the people, because the thing with the internet these days, you can meet anyone from any country and chat with them and build a friendship with them. It's really cool. But anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, I mentioned that, and I've watched some vloggers, and I've seen what some of the cities are like. Ultimately, the reasons I'm curious about the UK are history, sites, reading about some of the beaches, some of the nature, the friends I've made, and the culture. So, I know this was a very long and a very rambling video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And tell me your thoughts down below. And if you're from the UK, leave a comment down below. Tell me which city you're from. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, another thing I want to mention. I love also some of the sweets I've read, whether it be Mars bars, Aero chocolate. I've given that a try. That's pretty good. And also Malters. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I've always wanted to do this for a while, talking about why I want to visit the UK very much so, and why it's my dream country, and why I'm glad to say I know people from the UK. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're from the UK, Great Britain, whether it be my friends or random strangers. Stupid fucking thing that let me finish, but before I go, I want to mention some of the songs I love from Tears for Fears. One of them is Showing the Seeds of Love. It's one of my favorite. Showing the Seeds of Love. That's a great song. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Shout. And I'm going to name some of my favorite albums. I'm going to Google them because I feel like it. But Showing the Seeds of Love, that album, that's one of my favorites. The Hurting, that's also one of my favorites. There's a lot I can say. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And also Depeche Mode. I can't fucking believe I forgot it. I keep trying to end this, but then I keep forgetting to mention it. But yes, Depeche Mode, that's one of my other favorite British bands. I've seen them 4 times in concert. That's another way you could say that added to my obsession of the UK and all that. I love their music. They've been featured on GTA San Andreas, of course. Whether it be Blasphemous Rumors, Personal Jesus, Just Can't Get Enough, World in My Eyes. I've seen them 4 times in concert, and it's truly one of the greatest bands I've had the pleasure of seeing. But for real now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I keep saying, even though I didn't fucking end it before, if you're from the UK, any other countries, leave a comment down below, and you tell me your thoughts. And you tell me which country in the UK or city you're from, or if you're one of my friends from the UK and you're watching this, you leave a comment down below and tell me your thoughts. Thank you for watching.